I hate saying this word, but we have to talk about it, the shank. What are the main impact conditions that cause that dreaded shank? Well, there are actually a few. Now, for most of you watching this, you're probably going to be kind of in that camp of an over-the-top golfer, and that impact condition can cause the shank. We also have golfers that are too far from the inside, that can also cause the shank. And then we also have golfers that just present too much of the heel to the golf ball, that can also cause the shank. So let's talk around those three impact conditions and really explain where those shanks are coming from. So let's talk about the most common reason golfers shank it, and that is an over-the-top move. And what we mean by this is that through the impact zone, we're going to see this club head working from the outside, coming across the golf ball. And you can see here, because we're coming so far across the golf ball, that hosel is very much on the golf ball, leading to that shank shot. So for these golfers, we'll often see a lot of deep divots pointing left. We'll see a lot of pulls and a lot of slices. And the shank's just simply because that club head is coming so far from the outside, we just put the hosel onto the golf ball. Now, I will add a little caveat that we see with a lot of golfers that come over the top, is that they see that shank going right. So what they do is they try and square the club face up and really aggressively release that club face. And they actually end up hitting more shanks, and we'll often see a really thin divot with these golfers. And that is because if we look at it through the impact zone, if we really try and square the club face up and really release it, you can see it actually presents more of the hosel to the golf ball, and we hit more shank shots. So just be very aware, if you are coming over the top, we see a lot of slices, a lot of pulls, and a lot of deep divots pointing left, then you're probably in this camp of golfer that the shanks cause because we come in too much from the outside in. But we also have to be very mindful of not over-releasing that club head, because that can present more hosel to the golf ball, leading to more shanks. Now let's talk about another type of golfer that hits the shank, and this is a golfer that has a path that's too far from the inside to out. So for these type of golfers, usually better players, will often see more pushes in their game, more draws and more hooks. Now the shank is caused by, in these type of golfers, that club path is going to be working too far from the inside, and then we work out and we hit that hosel of the golf club onto the golf ball, leading to that shank shot. So these golfers really need to work on getting that path more neutral through the golf ball and not coming too much from the inside to out, because as we move that club head out aggressively, we're just going to present more of that hosel to the golf ball and can lead to the shank. Now often these golfers, like I say, they're a little bit of a better golfer usually. It's not always the case, but it's less common than that over the top move. But let's look finally at the next type of golfer, the golfer that presents just too much of the heel into the golf ball. Now let's talk about the golfer that presents too much of the hosel or the heel into the golf ball. Now this is where, through the impact zone, this club is going to be traveling closer to the golf ball, and you can see how we hit the golf ball off the hosel, leading to that shank shot. Now usually we can have like neutral paths doing this, and it's often caused by things like your weight moving too much onto your toe, standing a little bit too close to it. Usually these type of golfers hit kind of straight shots. It might just creep in occasionally where the weight just moves too far forward, but this golfer is just the golfer that moves that hosel of the golf club too close to the golf ball through the impact zone. It's probably less common, and it's probably where you just get a random shank every now and then. Usually this is, like I said, because of poor weight distribution. So in summary, we've been through the most common impact conditions that cause that shank shot. For the majority of people watching this video, you're probably going to be in the camp of golfer that comes over the top, presents too much of that hosel to the golf ball, and or you over release or try and help the golf ball up in the air, lead into too much hosel again on the golf ball. We also have golfers that have too far of a path in to out, that can also cause that shank, or golfers that move the weight too far forward in the swing that can present that heel or the hosel to the golf ball. Like I said, for the majority of golfers, probably an over the top move. One of the simplest things you can do is just simply place a head cover outside the golf ball just to prevent that shank shot. It's a really simple way of doing it, but hopefully you understand a little bit better reasoning now what causes that shank shot from an impact perspective.